say she funny, yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It is Saturday, October 7th, 2023. This is Spade podcast. We are back with another edition of the program. And we have a special guest in the building.
Aww.
Key, what's up?
What's
up?
on, Vic?
What's going on?
Nothing much. I'm happy to be here with y'all. I see y'all doing big things.
So we have another tiger. I don't even count Laurel.
Really?
I'm just gonna
Really?
At all.
You a tiger.
Yeah.
You're not a what's Laurel's mascot?
Spartans.
What is that?
Don't do this to me right
What
now.
is a Spartan? This ain't 300.
The way that they were whooping up on Duval these past few football seasons looked like, this is Sparta.
Huh?
Yeah.
Laurel been beating up on who? I guess.
Anyway. But forever. Forever, ever.
That's what we know you as.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
we don't count the Laurel time period.
Who was having on the show, and I was like, she ran track. He was like, she played softball. I was like, I think we talking about the same person.
Is it the hair? Is it because I don't have the hair anymore?
Nah, it's just he just said Kivia, and I was just like, okay, I know.
You lucky I didn't say Key.
Facts.
That would have really threw you off.
Facts.
Because I don't know her as Key.
That's my
part.
point. That's why I didn't say it.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? And I was hoping that you was saying her, so I was like,
I
we need to have a
appreciate
conversation.
you. Yes. Since we didn't really catch up when I saw you at work. Man, it's so good seeing y'all. It was only like a year ago. A little less than a year ago.
Was that a year ago? No, where you see me at?
Was you
saw me at BJ's or Red Robin?
BJ's.
Oh, was it BJ? Oh, yeah, that was a year ago.
I'm about to say it had to been Red Robin, but
Nah, I've been to BJ's.
yeah, but I think you was already gone from there at that point.
But either way, I'm just happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
No problem.
So, my phone's having technical difficulties right now, but last time we was here, we were still in September. We're in October now. So it's the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
So we got the trifecta going on. October is my favorite time of the year, not just because of the fall and the leaves changing colors and it getting cooler outside and pumpkin spice lattes and all of that.
Which is the best part.
But this is also my favorite time of the year because we have these different awareness months and movements going on that are very, very important, not just for our community, but just for our country as a whole. And specifically, Cybersecurity Awareness Month is becoming more and more important to me because, obviously that's something that that's the community that I'm a part of. But, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is always very, very touchy for our community.
It's dear to my heart.
Just because probably a lot of our family members have experienced breast cancer at some point in their lives.
My grandmother died from breast cancer, metastatic breast cancer. So it's definitely touching to me.
And even more so now, just with how much awareness it's gotten, and it's important, but Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Because every day there's a...
Really?
Yeah.
See? And it's just bringing awareness and attention to it.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month is purple. So when you see purple, or when you see people wear purple, that's what it symbolizes. And of course, breast cancer is pink.
Yes.
We was doing that in high school.
Right.
We had October games. We made sure we had like a little pink sleeve, pink socks or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure we represent them.
Always, but it's all of these underlying awareness months that need just as much attention as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So,
Especially with domestic violence, because it's so prevalent, especially in society today.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know the exact. I'm gonna look it up actually, but they say it's like every 23 seconds or 30 seconds there's a domestic violence incident.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And I remember I remember briefly just when I was in the police academy.
Wow. I'm sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
Something of domestic violence, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember when I was in the police academy and we were doing our different scenarios. A couple of the calls that we did in training was for domestic violence, and that was besides doing active shooter training and wellness checks and things of that sort. But I remember, the instructors took that just as serious as everything else, just because it's a very, very volatile situation.
Absolutely.
As a police officer, you don't know what kind of environment you're going to walk into, what you're going to pull up on.
Nope.
And the most important thing that you have to do first and foremost from the law enforcement standpoint is diffuse the situation first, and then figure out the facts later on. Because
it can go downhill very quickly.
Right, and it's been plenty of situations where police officers, they pull up on the scene and it's an active situation, and now you got the people involved, person or persons, turning guns onto the police officers, and they just trying to defuse the situation. And so now you make a bad situation even worse, by targeting police officers. But anyway, just within our community, it's a huge issue.
Absolutely.
And it's touchy for me because one of my previous relationships I was in, almost every day, but if it wasn't for who I was and who I am as a man, like if I didn't really care about nothing, like I would have been a statistic.
Oh my!
As a victim or as the abuser?
As a victim that turned abuser.
Okay, because what people don't know is 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 10 men are victims or have come in contact with some form of domestic violence.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but men don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because of.
Does it make it seem like we a sucker?
Yeah,
well,
less than.
Yeah, and it's
like she beating on you, girl.
So from our standpoint as men, it's very, very underreported.
Absolutely.
I think when it comes to like sexual assault,
which is a form of domestic violence.
Yes, I think the reporting on that from our standpoint has gotten better, but we still got a long way to go with that. But when it comes to just reporting as a domestic violence, we don't do it.
But also the broad aspect or umbrella of domestic violence is huge because people also don't realize that domestic violence comes in different shapes and forms. So it can be financial abuse, it could be physical abuse, sexual assault, stalking, verbal, emotional, and mental abuse or neglect. It can be between intimate partners. It can be between friends. Or it can even, they've extended it to be even with animals, if you have domestic animals. That domestic violence can affect in various ways in all of those groups. Now, what we see and hear today, especially in this societal climate that we're in right now, is more people are normalizing it. And that's what needs to be talked about, I believe, most, because some of the social medias that we look at or some of the songs that we listen to, or even if you are witnessing it in just we might consider it a toxic relationship, but it's actually a domestic violence problem. And this is like one of the most fastly growing public health issues. Absolutely.
Of course, the drug crisis is the biggest issue we have. Besides, it's like a 1A, 1B when it comes to drugs and poverty. But then domestic violence, to me, is like the next tier down because, and it could include all of that.
Facts.
Yeah.
It can include all of that.
Facts.
I'm waiting for it to pull up, but
and then you also have to look at the mental state of the abusers and the victims. So me being a conqueror of domestic violence, my first marriage was a domestic violence situation. And I'll even say some of my relationships were. It made me a stronger woman. But most people don't have the ability to escape domestic violence situations. So I almost lost my life in my first marriage to the point where I moved back up to Maryland with $500 in my pocket, 2 toddlers, and a rental truck packed with as much stuff as I could carry, and came back home in the height of the pandemic. So this is in 2020. And it was because I was isolated from my family. He was controlling all of the money that was going in or out of the house. He isolated me from any and all resources around me, was controlling who I was talking to, what I was saying in some instances. And I felt trapped. And luckily enough, it took me, I would say, 6 times to successfully get out of my marriage. And I came out alive. But it takes an average person, woman, male, about 7 to 9 times to escape a domestic violence relationship. Because they always go back. They don't always go back, but they tend to want to stay connected to their abuser.
Why?
The case could be in various ways. So I'm currently at Howard, HU.
Hold on. Time out.
I wasn't going to. You know why I wasn't going to do it.
I got my undergrad at Hampton.
I was getting ready to say, because you know why I was getting ready to do this. So I'm going to put you on the spot. So what's the real HU?
I'm just call me a HU girl. I'm in between. I'm 50-50.
No, hold on, time out. Nah, hold on, Key. You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
I'm not picking one.
Oh, you what?
Because Hampton gave me some keys in my undergrad. Okay. I was quintessence 9, class of 2016.
All right.
I got my major was in sociology and my minor was in kinesiology, physical therapy.
Oh, I was about to say I was
So I wanted to deal with like the whole person, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, or whatever. And then God just directed my path a little bit and said, no, I need you to tell your testimony of what happened to you growing up through these cycles. Mm-hmm. So he led me to Howard to get my master's of social work, which is where I'm currently at.
All right.
Okay.
But either way, thank
right.
you.
That's all right.
But into getting to your question, in the mental state, yeah, I'm gonna brush right past that because me and you gonna throw hands. If you continue to do this, it's like this Duval Laurel conversation. It's just I don't know. But either way,
because as soon as I seen that Howard T-shirt when I walked in, I'm like, is she crazy?
I was thrown off too. I
like,
swear you went to Hampton.
Like,
on my mama. On my mama, you went to Hampton.
I know you. You went to Hampton.
And I proudly represent Hampton.
Okay.
Now I just can't decide who the real HU is right now. Because I'm being enriched in a lot of ways from both. Okay. And because I support my HBCUs.
Here we go. You got to throw that in there. Okay, that's valid. That's valid.
That's
valid.
one of the reasons why.
HBCU, okay.
Thank you.
I went to one too, so exactly. I didn't graduate, but I went to one.
Look.
No, because you knew exactly where I was going to take it. You knew. That's why you try to speed past it. Like, hold on, no, time out. We're going to slow this down.
No. We're going to pass go, and I'm going to collect that $200 and keep it moving.
I went to a tour at Hampton. Mm-hmm. Didn't like my time, but...
What? We're going to talk about this later.
Yeah.
I
wasn't fucking with it. I ain't going to hold you.
But,
as soon as I left, I was like, I'm not going here.
I can't do it.
But going back to talking about domestic violence...
And the mental state is where you were going to.
Yeah, You don't realize how far deep in it you are until you're removed from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you self-reflect and you think about what you got yourself out of, and you realize how deep you were in it, and you have this coming to Jesus moment, like, what took me so long to separate myself from this person?
Absolutely.
And some people, would say it's the sexual relationship you have with that person, but it's not. It's that's not even really. That's not even the big part of it. It's something in your brain that's like, because like for me, I'm an Aries, right? So I'm very, very loyal and passionate about anything I put my name on, right? So what I mean by that is anything that I associate myself with, I take it serious. And so when it comes to people, I treat that like how I treat my professional life, like I take it serious. And I tend to try to stick by that person if I can. Now, if I exhausted all options and there's no other means of me trying of this situation being healthy for me, all right, I cut the string. But that looks different for different people. Because how long are you willing to wait before you tell yourself, you know what, this ain't gonna work out, I gotta get out of here.
And you have to think about the aspect that most people in these situations have children. So they're looking at the stability aspect. Like, if I leave with my kids, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Their mentalities aren't necessarily for just leaving for the heck of it. It's, what am I losing in this? And they think that staying in the relationship is a lot safer than escaping.
I was just about to say that.
And then there are a lot of repercussions for those that do happen to get out of those relationships. So in researching the mentalities of why people stay in these situations, stability is one of them. Some people also just want the person to change, and they have that hope, but they're willing to stay and fight through it instead of doing what's best for them. And it could be cultural reasons that they stay. Depending on where you're from, divorce is never an option. Like, you literally walking out like you died. Like, you're dead to your family, to everything, or you actually die a physical death. And that's not saying that it's okay.
Right.
But so cultural norms, religious beliefs, like it's multi-layered, and there's it goes so deep.
Depends on the individual. Because I've seen situations where the impact of them thinking what's going to happen once I leave, and I personally seen this. I don't want to put the person's name out there because you know that's a touchy subject, but I personally seen where, because most of the people who's abusers, they has a fragile mind state. You know what I'm saying? So like, I seen where
They at the end of the road.
if you leave, that's it. I'm off myself. You leave me, I'm gonna kill myself. You know what I'm saying? Or if you leave, I'm gonna kill you. Or I'm gonna come to your house. You know what I'm saying? So it's impact like that, yeah. And what's crazy is your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you want to protect the person that's going through that. You know what I'm saying? As far as like your friend or your family member or somebody that's going through that. But if they decide to keep putting themselves in that situation, it's kind of hard for me to be like, yo, I'm sorry.
They have to heal.
Like, I've been trying to try. You don't want me to do this. You don't want to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's up to you, but like, hearing the other side to it, so many layers to it, how it's hard. It's like, I look back at that situation, it was like, I'm not going to say I should have had more patience, but been less aggravated by it because there's so many layers of it. It was just exhausting, and it was very troubling seeing that person go through that. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to go over there and break his damn neck. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I wanted to put paws on him. You know what I'm saying? But then the aftermath for that and all, you know what I'm saying? It's a real touchy situation because I definitely seen women, and I seen people take advantage of that as well when they want something happen to somebody and they say something false or they fabricate something and somebody went over there, try to put hands, and they end up getting murked. I done seen that situation. You done called your brothers and you knew he had that yop on him. You know what I'm saying? You know your brothers don't got no, they coming to throw hands. He coming to throw bullets. And
that's another reason why
it's so hard.
It is. And the Violence Against Women's Act, which is a political policy in effect to this day, because it's been reauthorized a number of times, is speaking to get the right to carry taken away from people that have been convicted on domestic violence charges. But it takes somebody to have to speak up, because if you don't speak up about it, if you're not telling the accurate story, how else can you get the accurate help or lead to the accurate resources? Which is why Domestic Violence Awareness Month is so important, because we're bringing light to those situations and resources that people can reach out to be able to get the help that they need when their loved ones are tired of seeing the cycles.
Facts.
Have compassion fatigue is what it's called in the medical field, because you don't have the energy to continue to nurture it. But it takes that person needs that love, because when they finally do come to grips with the mentality that they have been focused in for so long, they need somebody to help them to continue to carry them to that light. My family was patient enough with me over the course of the 6 to 7-ish years that I was in that situation to actually be there for me when I decided to get out. My mom was fed up with the situation from day one. And then the fact that I had 2 children with my abuser, she was just like, okay, I have to give her space and allow her to figure this out. But it was the continual love from family and friends that gave me the strength to be able to want to say, okay, enough is enough. And then and this is where my faith kicked in, because it was in that moment of January 2020 that I gave God my solid yes. And then I was able to see myself, see how it was affecting my children. And then I said, enough is enough. But most people don't have that type of motivation to be able to want to say, I can't do this anymore.
So,
wow, I'm sorry
actually,
you had to go through that.
the statistics for when a domestic violence occurs is actually less than what I said. It's actually every 9 seconds in the country. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men.
Yep.
And that's from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
Yep. And it's sad that our culture just perpetuates the normality of it.
Yeah.
We call it we call it toxic. We say that you just being toxic. If somebody is talking to you sideways, or if you know your man's is beating on his girl, or she's saying that
Now, first of all, sorry to cut you off, Key, but
talk about it, bro.
I'm sorry.
Talk about it.
Any man that I know that puts his hands on the woman he's dealing with, we're gonna have problems.
And that's an
We gonna have
integrity
more than
standpoint.
problems.
That's an integrity standpoint.
Yeah.
Because
you a whole ass nigga. And put your hands on me. How about you put your hands on the dude? How about that? You put your hands on me. Fuck. I'm sorry.
It's terrible.
It's gonna be an old fashioned beatdown.
I'm telling you.
All the bros gonna line up.
I'm telling you.
And that's how we gonna carry it.
First of all, after me he sleep. Because I'm putting him to sleep. I'm telling you, NyQuil, left hand, straight to the jaw. I'm not playing with you.
But do you know, how would you know?
No, what I'm saying is, okay, first of all.
And that's very true.
No, that's true. I definitely heard a nigga bragging about that.
What? What?
Some people wear it with a badge of honor.
He said, I slapped shit out Shawty and all that, da-da-da. Hey, one back. I said, you did what? He was like, yeah, I slapped shit out Shawty and all that. And I ain't really know him. He was like a friend of a friend. And I was like, what type of time you on? You slapped Shawty for what? Because you was messing with Shawty, she saw the text message and you slapped Shawty? Yeah. Slap me. I want you to slap me. Yo, whole scoop. Nah, bro, what? He bragging about this shit like it's cool. Like, what, where we do that at?
Or even the way that he might talk, men and women talk to each other. That can be domestic violence, too. If you continually beating on somebody's mental and emotional by telling somebody they're nothing, by calling them out of their name, that's a form of domestic violence, too.
Facts. Females do that all the time.
Now, what I will say, our community, from the men's standpoint, we got a lot of work to do. But what I will say to the ladies, and I said this before, keep your hands to yourself.
Thank you.
I don't care what y'all arguing about.
Yeah.
Don't
hit nothing that you don't want to get hit by back.
If your man hasn't shown you that side of him to where he's going to put his hands on you, don't initiate.
Don't entice it.
Because everyone has their tolerance level.
Facts.
And it could be one of them days where he's out of it for whatever reason. Because work, he's stressing out about various different things.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want to do is pile on by getting physical with him. Because every man is not going to respond the same. Every man is not going to just
no bullshit.
Take it.
No bullshit.
But it also, and that leads to the communication. If you don't have that proper communication and that instead of everybody's on this AI fix, let's talk about EI, emotional intelligence. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. Being able to properly voice how you feel, where your mindset is, and be comfortable enough in that to be able to express to somebody, I feel this way. I know that you want this, but I'm feeling like this right now and can't give that to you.
But a lot of people don't know themselves to be able to do that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I remember we talked about it on the show, knowing your own manual. Mm-hmm. You got to know yourself to be able to able to express that. Because if you don't know yourself, you know what I'm saying, how you can be confident.
Why be in a relationship then if you don't have the
Facts.
Emotional intelligence to communicate?
Facts. A lot of people don't know.
Whose fault is that?
That's their fault. That's their fault. A lot of people don't know, bro. You can be living and not know that you're not emotionally intelligent, bro. You're not intelligent with your emotions and how you carry.
Because you just want that love.
Exactly. Until you get into that point. If it's never tested, then you will never know. How's somebody gonna know how you gonna know you know how to fight until you fight? If you never fought your whole life, you don't know if you can fight or not. You feel me? Until somebody said, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying? And then you figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Once you get into certain situations that bring that out, that you have to understand, then you be like, oh.
It speaks to the maturity of the person.
Facts.
I mean, because we touched on this before, but briefly, when it comes to if you're not in a position to give someone 100% all of you, then I can't expect for you to do what you need to do by them in every facet, because in every facet means that you're vulnerable with what you're flawed in and what your flaws are. It's easy to point the finger at someone else and say, this is where you fucked up at. But if you know within yourself that you're not right, or you're going through a phase and you're not exactly where you want to be within yourself in life from a personal standpoint or maybe a professional standpoint, speak on it.
But some people don't want to look at the mirror.
It's hard.
Especially if people have trauma pasts, they definitely don't want to look at the mirror because it allows them to see.
That's even worse.
And that's where the community needs to get back to wanting to have to go through mental health counseling and identify those triggers that they have and the root of their traumas and everything. Like, I spoke to you this before, but I had to go back to that little girl in me that was hurt and pained by neglect of her father, not having a father figure that was consistent, and wonder, well, why do I think it's okay to be loved this way? Some people are only amped and attracted to the love that they're used to, not knowing that it's actually toxic. So once somebody actually is able to face the mirror and say, oh, I see this now and willing to get help, it's going to be a continual cycle.
I'm glad you brought that up because, all right. So the cycle, because that can go both ways for us. See, this is why it's important to you to learn your past and learn about other people in your family and all that. And if you got domestic violence, try to a history in your family, trying to figure that out.
But we bury that as black people.
Exactly, and we shouldn't do that.
Talk about it closely.
We shouldn't do that now. a lot of people that know me and know my family, and they see me, they be like, "You're your granddad," which is good until you figure out the history, with your granddad and his discretions. And I see myself in that. Like, I see the attributes that I heard about him, as far as good and bad. They see the good in me. But also, it's character traits within your family when it comes down to genetics and all that. That's just normal. That's what happens.
Yes.
And my anger, well, it's gotten way better. You know what I'm saying? And if you see me pissed, my anger, I can see, you know what I'm saying, how it's similar to that. And me learning about that with my grandfather and my father as well, I was able to contain and settle it down, water it down. Like, I'm not like I don't have them character traits, but it don't affect me, and it's not to a certain degree as it is. So you have to understand that, because the simple fact that probably be a family thing. You go through domestic violence, even if you're the victim or you're the abuser. You know what I'm saying? Because I done heard, like, me talking to people, and they've been like a family of victims or a family of abusers, or you know what I'm saying? It's like a learned, so you have to figure that about yourself as well. You know what I'm saying? So you can understand what you're going through in the present, what you're going to go through in the future.
Absolutely.
More. Because it made me really figure out my emotions more. Because I thought I had to figure it out, but I really didn't. And me figuring out more about my dad, my granddad, my father's side of the family that I really didn't know, for real. You know what I'm saying? That made me look in the mirror more like, yo, you got to do this. You can't put yourself in this situations because you can get hot. It's going to get hot in here. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get Nelly in here. But you got to, you got to focus,
But you sought the help and the tools to get you through that, because you acknowledged where that thorn was. And you're not letting it continually leak and drain you to cause other things to happen that will put you back in the situations in that generational cycle. So you initiating those steps made you a generational curse breaker for anger in your family.
And it took, honestly, it took my nephew to me to really look into the mirror and like, bro, like you going down a dark place, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then was at a place, I was working at a place that was draining me from my sanity, and then coming home, and just emotions just come out. You know what I'm saying? It really took him to like be like, like what's, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard. It's hard.
The first thing to do is to identify the issue. And I think within our community, we're unable to identify it because we either bury it or we just overlook it.
Sweep it under the rug.
Sweep underneath the rug.
What goes on in this house stays in this house.
Right. And a lot of our older our elders, I'll put it that way. A lot of our elders within our families, we all have those folks who, keep things under wraps. But, and growing up, we thought that was normal.
We did.
It's not normal because, innately, those things rub off on the younger folks. Either in a positive way, which is rare, or in a negative way, to where it's a continued cycle. And so that the first order of business is to identify. Once you are able to identify what the issue is, then everything else is almost way simpler after that, because now you're attacking the issue head on.
If you want to, you have to be willing.
Right. Right. That's right. That's the other part of it too. Once you identify, yeah, because you can identify, and oh, okay. I mean, this normal stuff. No, it's not normal. It's not normal. Like your uncle beating on your aunt. It's not a normal thing.
And
it's not normal.
I was having a conversation with somebody about these type of generational curses and the cycles and everything, and it takes a generation like ours, like to the point where everything has fizzled up and bottled up so much and just explodes for us to make the change. So I believe wholeheartedly that this millennial generation is a generation of chain breakers and generational curse breakers, because we don't want the same cycle that our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents went through. We look at the success sometimes. We look at the financial stability or instability that they had, and we harbor it and use it as a drive. But what, like Scoop was saying, are the subliminal things that we don't know, are the depressed secrets that we don't know that are actually embedded in us that we pay attention to, but didn't have the heart to change.
What's crazy is, even, to this day, a lot of stuff that occurred that we still don't know about, we would never know unless we somehow stumble upon some information that we overheard from somebody else.
Exactly.
Or they have the gall to be honest and have a sit down conversation with you about X, Y, and Z. This is why things are the way that they are now, and or this is why things were the way that they were when you were small during that time period. And it's, I tell people in my family now, the older folks, I say, I'm not a little boy no more. So Lil Vic is gone. I'm grown now.
Correct.
Oh my God.
So I'm
give it to me real.
So if I have an issue with something that I see that you're doing, I'm coming to you.
And it's not disrespect,
And
boy.
It's
I
not.
swear.
I'm not even thinking about that because
that's a personal thing.
I know,
No.
right, but what
It's an aspect.
But
It's
what
a
I'm
factor,
saying is,
yeah.
because me disrespectful is I'm down your throat. And
Thank
I'm
you.
cussing you out.
Thank you.
But me coming directly to you, to the source, and asking you, like,
in a calm temper,
right, like, what's up with you? Like, what's going on?
trying to have conversation.
Like, calm down.
Like, what you got going on?
How is calm down disrespectful?
Right. Well, I'm just saying. I've told him since I've come back home from the military. I said I'm not a little boy no more. Like I'm integrated back into the family now. So when I see y'all and see certain things going on, like I'm gonna ask you, like, what you got going on, like, cause what I seen when I was younger that I couldn't really comprehend at that point,
Or couldn't speak on.
or couldn't really speak on, and now that I'm grown and I still
You comprehended it.
Yeah.
right, but now that I'm
You just
grown
couldn't speak on
and I'm still seeing certain things occur, and now I'm really able to speak on it. Yeah, I ain't holding back now.
Correct. So, and what people also don't realize is the things that we've witnessed as children are the reason why we act the way we act in relationships today.
Facts.
But children understand and comprehend so much because they're emotional. They can feel it. So even though they don't know exactly to pinpoint what's going on or how to put it in words, they know what's going on. They feel it, or they see it, and they develop a more understanding as they get older and get the more knowledge about the situation. Like for me with my two girls, I talk to them like you're not a kid. I mean, of course, I'm gonna treat a child in a child's place, but I don't baby talk them. So if they have a question about something, I'm gonna tell them the answer in the best way to address it to a child.
Yeah.
And not try and cover up, because what's good is good, but what's not is not.
That's how it should be.
Because you sugarcoating shit and the world not sugarcoated. You know
At
what I'm saying? So
all.
you sugarcoating these kids and they come out like, damn, it's not sugarcoated. It's muddy in here. What's going on? It's not all peaches and cream.
Exactly.
Like, what's going on? No, it's not.
And then they're listening to music and watching these songs and videos and TV shows that are having these corrupt conversations, and it's embedding even more into them.
Facts.
Which is, it's terrible. Like, I don't, so I set forth for myself because my oldest, who's 6 now, witnessed a good portion of the abuse that I was going through. She wasn't present when the physical violence happened, but when some of the verbal abuse was going on, but she felt it to the point where she would like just come up and hug me and say, "Mommy, if nobody told you today, I love you." She would come up to me and say, "Mommy, let's pray." Or she would just give me a hug and just sit next to me. And when I realized that she was witnessing and feeling my pain, I was like, yeah, nah. Something's got to change.
It's time to go.
Because then those children grow up to think that that's normal and that's love. And that's how they receive love. And that's how some of our cycles have been in our generation, is where we've seen things happen in our family. We've seen multiple partners. We've seen the way that some people talk to each other within our families and intimate partners of family friends. And we thought that was love.
Facts.
We thought it.
Yeah.
I had to personally go back to what the Bible said about love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is everlasting. It covers a multitude of sins. But that was for me. But for people who aren't in the same spiritual belief or understanding of where I am, it's just the mere fact that love is an overcovering of respect. Like, I'm not going to try to purposely put you down and talk negatively to you. But that's some people's intent.
Facts.
It's to continue to maintain that power and control.
That is why when it comes to just, you know, after my previous situation, but that is why when it comes to just, you know, women in general that I've dealt with in the past, and you know, and even currently, you know, the number one thing that I always tried to do first was try to identify whether you will be the same in every single environment we're in. And basically what I mean is, if we're going through a phase, things may not be going well, or things may be going well, but more so I learn more about people when things aren't going well versus when things are going well. So if things aren't going well and we go out to like a mutual friends like cookout or something, for example, right? I'm just use that because that's just the most basic thing where mutual people gather, and we just have an argument, and then you kind of carry that argument to the cookout. Now I know that you can't really you're really not doing for me, because what we go through is what we go through. But I know in my mind that somewhere along the road, later on, you're gonna stab me in the back.
Really?
Yeah, because if you don't have the maturity to, all right, we just had this argument, cool, but we can ready to go to this mutual event together.
So to come to a resolve.
Let's have a good time. Let's go home, and then we're going to figure everything out from there. But if you carry that to this event, later on, I know, like, if I'm not around and we're going through a tough moment, you're really not going to have my back.
But some people don't have that emotional intelligence to want to get to that resolution. It's not a resolve. It's not a problem solver. But that resolution, that safe space to be able to say, okay, we're about to go to this event. I don't want to go there with this negative energy and to where other people are asking what's going on. But I want you to understand, I know where you're coming from. I want you to hear where I'm coming from. We're setting time to say that we'll finish the conversation. But as of right now, this is what I hear you saying. This is what you hear me saying. Can we just put it on pause right now until later? It's not so what one of the special guests at my church had preached on was it's not an agree to disagree situation. It's let's communicate, get a resolution where we're both satisfied because we're both being heard and seen, and then later we can work on that resolution for the problem. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
But people don't have that maturity.
And that's true. And again, that's a personal problem.
Facts.
Because again, if we have an issue and we go somewhere, I'm not going to wear that on within my body language towards other people.
But you might be of a higher intelligence in your personal emotions than other people.
But this is the my bad.
Yeah, you're fine.
This is the reason why you had this conversation before you start going out with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you gotta put in the work first. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a continual put in the work.
yeah, you continue to put in the work throughout the whole situation. Now, granted, it is gonna be certain situations that you probably won't, come up. It won't come up because you're not together yet. If you end up being together, then you won't know about a certain situation. But if you talk about, okay, how would you react like this? How do you problem solve? How do you deal with arguments and stuff like that? If you had those conversations before, you would kind of have like an idea of how they're gonna act when these situations comes up. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, because people can have a good spit game. They can talk all that shit.
But that's what
you know what I'm saying? They can talk that
but
shit.
It's the action.
But it's the action though. You know what I'm saying? So I can get, somebody, throwing some bull jive at you. Like, okay, Shawty got some sense. And then she end up not having none. You know what I'm saying? So.
And it's testing it. It's continually working into digging deeper on those surface conversations. But most people go into these relationships completely on a surface level, showing, oh, I'm shiny and new. It's a gold wrapper, but underneath is some like decaying candy. And
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, that's why I see what you're saying, Scoop, as far as have the conversation. But for me, as important as that is, you gotta show me.
Of course,
it's
I'm like you gotta show me, because everything is cute and looks great when you courting somebody, or when you first stumble upon certain amount of feelings for X person, but you're not gonna know until you're really in it. And once you're really in it, all right, now this is where I'm gonna, when stuff goes wrong, this is where I'm gonna learn a lot about you, and that's gonna help me determine whether you are a long-term you're my long-term person or not. Because for me, like, I have to know if I'm going to invest X amount of money into you,
time
with spending the rest of my life with you, I need to know that when shit go wrong, you got me, because I'm gonna have you. If you don't have me, then I don't care if you want to get married and have kids. It ain't gonna be with me. You can go waste somebody else's time. You're not gonna waste my time.
But you might have the adequate tools in your toolbox to be able to address those situations, and most people don't cultivate those tools properly. So again, it's being able and willing to look into that mirror and say, up front, when you are courting somebody, these are the issues that I face, and giving them the choice to say, okay, I can work with you through this or not. Some people call it red flags. Are you able to work with somebody else's red flag?
We gotta stop that shit.
Flags. No, hold on.
Sorry,
I said
man.
some people.
No.
The red flag thing is thrown around so loosely, man.
It is.
Is it?
Yes.
Because there are some yellows. But but either way, it's what you're willing to handle and adjust. Yeah. What I was willing to handle and adjust, and to take hold to in some of my former relationships, I have a boundary now to where I'm like, nah, I can't work with that. So I can't move forward with you. But if there are ways, and I know that you have the proper tools and the want to change the way that you act, talk, behave in certain high-risk situations, then yeah, we can talk about it and see how I can help you and you can help me move forward from some of the things that you even see I struggle with. But it's the willingness. And then it's not subjecting yourself to somebody that you know is strictly the type of person that wants to be needed and wanted all of the time, because then that turns into that manipulative situation.
Facts.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, Lord.
the reason why I said the red flag thing, I'm just it's really kind of disgraceful at this point, is because it's always easy to identify what's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, can we start identifying what's right, or like what works for us, or like what's positive?
Yeah, it becomes
Right.
toxic once you start seeking red flags.
I
When every little thing you probably like, I don't know about that, it's a red flag. That's technically not a red flag. And even with a red flag is not a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying?
But that's my
it
point,
can't be
though.
for certain people,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what I'm
But
saying?
that's my point, though,
Exactly.
because
You have
like,
to cipher through that.
someone's one. I mean, it's it's about preference at the end of the day,
Yeah.
because like you said, some red flags aren't really red flags. Like, for example, someone's occupation, right? Let's just say a man's a bus driver, right?
And then it's the stereotype.
Let's just say he's a bus driver, right? Oh, that's a red flag. Why is that a red flag? Because he's a bus driver.
Well, let's
Not your
flip it. Let's
preference.
flip it. Let's flip it. I mean, a woman is a stripper.
It's a preference. Again, but that goes back to what you're willing to accept or not.
Yeah.
If you know you're the type of person
But that's not a
to
red
be
flag, though.
judgmental. It's not. It's a preference. It's a preference. But no, certain things aren't red flags. It's just some people might identify red flags as a trigger. They're mixing the two.
Mm-hmm.
Because with somebody's red flag, they might say, "Oh, raising your voice in a conversation to me is a red flag." That's not a red flag. That's a trigger. You have trauma associated with that, so you identify it as a red flag.
See, to me, red flags, yellow flags, or green flags is behavior.
Facts.
To me, that's how I decipher. Okay, I can deal with this, or got some work to do, or I absolutely cannot deal with this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, like that, the flag colors to me is identified based off of behavior, not one's job. Now, would I date a stripper? No, but I wouldn't consider their occupation a flag color. That's just me. For me, the flag color is based off of behavior and what you are as a person, from a personality standpoint, and if I'm able to tolerate it or not. If I'm not, then this ain't gonna work.
Exactly.
That's just me.
And if so the red flags, you said it's behavior. To me, it's willingness to put in the work for what's needed, and for me to have a continual healthy relationship. My red flags before were with people that weren't willing to put in the work to become better, to have better communication, better levels of respect when it came to how I felt or what I thought about. And then where I started to see and then I categorized based off of that. But if you're willing to put in the work with me to be my partner and not disrespect me and do anything that is not going to be beneficial to the partnership of us in building something better, then that's where my red flag system comes in. So I was lucky enough to find somebody that's willing to work with me, to build with me, to respect me in those areas and levels of behavior and mentality and respect, just overall respect and love, and not hold grudges when those tough times come.
Glory.
Yeah, and I think also too, when it comes to a long-term person, for me, besides seeing you in in all these various different environments we're in your true authentic form. What's important to me also is the fact that, okay, along with all of that, are you always going to respect me?
Facts.
Are you always going to respect me? Because for most of us men, the biggest thing that we pride ourselves on is respect.
Facts.
Respect from our peers, respect from our brothers, respect from our woman. That is the engine that keeps us going. Is that evolving, that not evolving door, but just the evolution of just the respect continuously circulating around us from everyone we have relationships with. And
that's a deal breaker.
Right. The minute I feel that I'm not really respected, because you may feel strongly about something that I disagree with you on, and you're at odds with me about something, and we're continuously going back and forth about it, and you not going to back down.
Out of there.
But you also have to understand ways to de-escalate those conversations. If you have the tools to de-escalate and see where the root of some of those conversations stems from, you might be able to work past some of those disagreements. Because sometimes it's just people poking at men's pride.
That's an issue.
And that's the issue for the man. I mean, put your pride aside and try to get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on.
But that's the issue, because why are you poking at me, though?
But what if she's not intentionally poking at you?
Yeah.
What if she?
That's fine.
What if just because of her past, this is the way she sees something, and it's definitely different from the way yours is, because upbringing plays a factor, what you guys were exposed to, the work that you put into both of your careers. Like, you have to understand that friction, it's just understanding the deeper insights of those.
That's fine.
And if she's not intentionally there's a
That's
difference
hard to
between
find out.
intentionally and unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to look at the heart. The heart of the person will tell you if they're intentionally trying to poke at you for a purpose that is to blow up bigger, gaslighting.
Yeah.
Or if they just genuinely don't know.
That's
They
fine.
trying to figure
work
it
with
out.
that.
Yeah, I can work with that
you
as
have
well.
to put in the
But it's
time.
hard.
Right.
But yeah, that's hard to.
But you have to be with someone for a while to identify that.
That's a fact,
believe
especially when
so.
you. I mean, not really, because
Yeah, you do.
not really.
To identify whether they, because see, for me it's also about consistency
That part.
and the
That's a
pattern
fact.
and the pattern of behavior. If you're doing something the same way over and over and over again, then I'm going to tend to either think that you're this way or that way. Now, if you go from doing something a certain kind of way and then you switch up, okay, now I got questions, right? So for example, I could be with someone for, a year, 2 years, and I develop a pretty good understanding of what and who that person is. But then the minute you switch up, for worse, now I have questions that I want answers to. But if you have consistently been showing me that that you got me, then I'm always going to have the belief that you got me until you show me you don't.
Then it comes like, what's the underlying issue? Why you switching up? Because life
Exactly.
happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you know me, I'm a goofball. You know what I'm saying? But you see me somewhere serious and something. You're like, bro, what's going on with you? It's something going on why you like this, because you normally, man, lively. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
so
listen,
it all depends on what that person's going through, because life can change.
And we evolve over time. So, of course, you're going to always pinpoint where somebody has changed, but are you willing to love them through that change? Because then you have to do a self-examination of your heart. Well, I know you don't normally do this out of regiment or habit, because they're two different things. One is stronger than the other. A habit is just something that you do, or like a regiment is like you perpetually, subconsciously just continue to do that. So if somebody is switching up, that takes your heart to say, okay, let me connect. What's going on? and not take it as an offense, because you put offense on. You choose to take offense to things. You aren't just offended. So then you have to look at yourself and be like, okay, well, why is he acting this way?
Right.
And that's hard to do, because that means that you have to step out of it. But if you're willing to build with somebody in a healthy way and not have those arguments, you just have to be the bigger person sometimes. I hate being the bigger person.
Facts.
I mean,
literally and figuratively.
So it's it's
But it's self-discipline, because I know that at the end of the day, I want peace.
Facts.
But it leads back to the tools that you can consistently work through and have on hand to have that communication. If you're not willing to have that communication and you're just willing to say, I'm done with this because you're offended, your feelings are hurt, miss me with that.
no. I mean, so for me, it's the communication part, and expressing emotions is easy for me. But when it comes to removing yourself, taking a step back, and looking at the bigger picture, all right, that's simple for me, because
That's not
for
simple for everybody.
but,
though.
but what I'm saying is, I tend to not take things personal to begin with.
Facts.
Right? I'm willing to try to figure out what the problem is first, and then figure everything else out after that. But the minute whatever it is you're going through is weaponized in a way to where now I'm getting friendly fire as a result, now we have an issue.
A huge problem.
Because I'm coming to you trying to figure out, number one, what's going on, but number two, also want to help you as well. Now,
But that could be foreign.
but now if
That could be foreign to that person.
But if I'm getting, that's their problem.
I understand. No,
It's a we problem if you're
It's
trying
gonna
to
be
work
your
it
problem
out.
because you're trying to connect with that person.
Yeah.
You heard the saying, "Real recognize real."
It's not.
If you can't recognize, you ain't gonna think that's real. You gonna think it's fake, bro. I'm telling you.
It's not really. See, that specifically is not really a we problem. Because
But if you're trying to connect with that person, it's gonna be one.
I understand that. I'm trying to connect from the jump to begin with.
Yeah.
That's the angle I'm coming from.
Facts.
But if you weaponizing whatever it is you're going through, and I'm getting friendly fire as a result, now I have an issue with you, because if you're not emotionally intelligent enough to tell me, hey, Vic, give me some time. Let me sort some things out, and we can talk about this later on. I would give you all the space that you need.
Sometimes you have to be the initiator of that, though, because it depends.
That's fine, yeah.
But it depends on how willing you are to help that person resolve that problem.
Right.
Because if they're giving you friendly fire, it could be because they've triggered, and this is their coping mechanism just to explode, and everything around them is affected. And then you catch an offense to the fact that they've exploded on you. Your hurt and your emotional response is, I'm not dealing with it now, it's your problem. When really that's not, that deep down, depending on the person, it's not what they want. So it takes you to be the bigger person to step back and be like, okay, I feel what you're giving right now, and it's too much for me to handle. And before this gets worse, I'm going to take a step back, and we can try and come back to some type of resolution to the situation.
That's acceptable for a very, very short amount of time for me.
So you place a time hold on it.
Yeah, because if I'm always coming at you from the angle of trying to help you and trying to work with you with whatever it is you got going on, and you're constantly throwing daggers back at me because you're not quite ready to be mature enough to have a conversation, yeah, now I have a problem with you, because now you're repeating behavior.
Then that's you showing agape, which is the overarching God love, and saying, okay, I'm going to just have to remove myself from the situation, because now, in looking in the mirror at me, I'm not benefiting from this connection. And then you have to sometimes take space.
Right.
You can show agape to somebody, love to somebody from a distance, and not feel some type of way whenever they do decide to come back and ask you for help or understanding or communication. Mm-hmm. But again, it takes your self-evaluation to do that, to even when you don't want to be that bigger person.
What you said? What's it? How you pronounce that?
It's called agape.
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 Oh, okay. Because I thought you was
It's
talking
Greek.
about a soccer player.
Oh my gosh.
I ain't gonna hold you.
It's Greek. So there are 3 types of love. You have the phileo love, which is the brotherly love. You have the eros love, which is that lustful intimacy love. And you have agape, which is the overarching God love. And he wants us to show agape to everybody and not necessarily cut each other off,
Right.
so that people can understand you're not in this by yourself.
Right. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to give me something to work with, and then I can apply my resources to you to help you with what you need. But then if it gets to a point where you're consistently repeating the same behavior and I'm getting the blowback, now I have a problem with you.
Then you just show agape for yourself,
Right.
and you choose to exit stage.
Right. Right.
But that's not necessarily saying that you have to be nasty to them because
No,
they're
of
being
course
nasty
not.
to you.
Of
Yeah,
course
that's-
not.
But some
I'm gonna
people-
just remove
but-
myself.
Well, some people don't have that height of emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
so they just nasty
Right.
back.
Nah, facts.
I'm hurt people hurt people.
That's a fact.
But then that's continuation of that cycle.
Right.
And I have put my best foot forward to show that these cycles can be broken. Like, I'm going to research and do my readings on and test the theories of what can I do better to help affect my communication with somebody else.
Facts.
To where my physical appearance isn't disrespectful, my mouth isn't disrespectful,
Yeah.
and that you feel the love coming out of me because I genuinely care about you. But you have to be willing to put in that time, look in those mirrors, dig into your family past in order to do that. But if you don't, and you're just on a selfish quest to fulfill yourself and yourself only, you're going to attach and grab and be a parasite to every situation and relationship that you get in. And then you building on that is only going to hurt somebody else, which is how some of these domestic violence situations continue to happen. And then if you listen to music that's like bump you, I'm going to run you over, hit you with a car, stab you, shoot you, and stuff like that, what do you think is going to be embedded into your mindset? I'm not going to want to connect on a love topic. I'm not going to want to connect with you heart to heart. I'm not going to want to show that agape because I have so much hurt and hate in my heart that I'd rather be comfortable with instead of being free.
Yeah. I feel that. That's why I feel like red flags it could be different from deal breakers because like I'm actually talking to somebody and like we like opening up and all that and all right.
Okay.
So like she was open about her cheating in the past. And you know, anybody like, oh, that's crazy, you know what I'm saying? But it's the fact that you're trying to grow from it and you're open about it and you're open why it happened and how you try to grow from it, then it's like, okay, I can work with that. Because you showing me that you know, that you
Vulnerability.
that you vulnerable and you can go
Oh.
that you can go through something like that. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? And you can grow from that. And when she did that, I was able to, well, you know what I'm saying? I had trouble with my anger issues and all that and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? When you can talk like that and able to be vulnerable and able to show, well, look, it's probably a red flag in me, maybe 2. You know what I'm saying? But I acknowledge it. I acknowledge it and I'm trying to go past it and I'm trying to grow from it. And if you see that from somebody, then I can work with you. I can, you know what I'm saying? But from when you were saying the music thing, look, I like ratchet music too. But I am grown. You a grown ass person. You know how to cipher through the bullshit. You can go ahead and crank that toxic music in the car, but when you come talk to your person, leave that shit in the car. Fuck that. But a lot of people can't do that, so I can understand why you say that. But you can't keep blaming the music. We can't just keep blaming the music. We just can't. We just can't.
But sometimes it's not just music because subliminal things are happening when you listen to that stuff.
Okay.
Or when you watch movies or situations and you embody some of the things that go on. Because some people think it's natural and healthy. So it's just bringing a realization of that. But back to the fact that you were being vulnerable with your girl or whatever.
Not yet. Not yet, but all right.
So
we getting there. Not yet, yo.
vulnerability does not equate to being weak.
No.
Vulnerability does not equate to being weak. And men are scared to be vulnerable because they think, or society has made it to believe, that that is a form of weakness, and it's not. When you're able to be vulnerable with somebody, with yourself, you actually grow more because you're able to put in the work and build on those things that you see that you have done wrong, that you don't like, and things like that. Like, I don't understand, and that's another reason why some of these cycles have been perpetuated, because people are so protective over self. But when you become selfless to the point where you are willing to and wanting to have those in-depth conversations, let's dig deeper. I'm going to share something with you that you might not like, that makes me feel uncomfortable, but I respect you enough, and I think that I trust that you can handle this. Vulnerability and trust go hand in hand.
That's a fact.
Yeah. I mean,
we getting there, boy.
No, I mean, I've said this for the longest. Just because you're vulnerable with someone doesn't mean you're weak. It's really the opposite.
Especially if you're a man.
It's a form of strength.
It is,
because you're able to. It's a form of strength and trust as well, because you're able to divulge this information to someone that you trust and you care about, in the hopes that they safeguard it too.
But if they do drop the ball, you still learned something about yourself. So it's never, you never taken a true L to it. Yeah, it might have hurt, but it showed you something. You learned something in every situation. I had to acquaint some of the arguments and disagreements and breakups that I have been in. Instead of using them as L's, I'm like, what did I actually learn through this? I learned something about that person, and I learned something about myself. And there are just certain things that I'm not willing to tolerate, but I'm going to show you that agape love, that overarching, everlasting love, but I'm going to put myself first. And sometimes it's us sharing that love to help other people that are in those similar situations that we see, that we're connected to, helping them identify those signs as well, to help them get out and be able to say, you need to love yourself more. Because self-love, self-worth, that's of high importance, especially if you're trying to be in a successful relationship.
Yeah.
I had to get to a place where because I didn't love myself for a long time. When y'all knew me in high school, I didn't love myself. When I was in college, I didn't love myself. Even a little after and having kids, I was still like, nah. But it was when I actually started putting trust, values, building up my toolbox for communication and understanding of myself, what exactly is right and wrong, and not just based off of societal norms.
Facts.
I was like, that's when I started to identify who Kivia was and why I drew to people who didn't even love themselves.
Facts.
Because then they didn't even know how to love me. But then putting on this selfless attitude and wanting to understand where somebody is coming from in an argument or conversation, where somebody is triggered and needs help coming down from that trigger or height of anger and disappointment and belief and things like that. Having the mentality and want to connect with people in that way, you heal them. And then you give them the resources once they're able to actually stomach some of the advice that you've given.
Well,
yeah,
go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I think that's harder for us because one of my man Vito, he on the live Vito, he said something that I agree with. It's kind of hard for us to show vulnerability because it get thrown in our face, and we say we're called too emotional because we're men, and I think that's where it comes the button of heads is because we're people too. We're human too. We have emotions as well. You know what I'm saying? It's because we the man and we're the protected that we're never can feel vulnerable, or we never can have emotions, we can't have breakdowns, because we do. You know what I'm saying? We're human beings just like you. Everything that you go through, we go through as well. Just on a different perspective because you're a woman and I'm a man. Correct. So that becomes very hard, and that's when a lot of blow-ups happen, especially on our side, because we haven't, you know, it's a build-up because we don't release it. Right. Because we afraid that might happen or me be taken advantage of. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I brought this up a couple of times, and you know where I'm about to go with this. It's a comedian named D. Ray Davis, and one part of he was talking about the time when he was in the club, and he overheard a couple arguing, and the girl told the man, "Well, the next time you want to kill yourself, call another bitch."
That's gaslighting, though. That's gaslighting.
That happens a lot, though.
But it's identifying in the other person, what are you willing to handle and what are you not? Building up those tools to not get to that point. Because that speaks to maturity. That spoke to her maturity. Right. She is immature if she can throw that in somebody's face like that.
Exactly. And then that's when the domestic violence might come up, because it's hard for me to not hit you in your motherfucking shit after you just said some shit like that to me.
Scoop.
I'm saying though. She was like, she ain't put her hands on you. Did you just hear what she just said? I'm about to pop her in the...
Verbal abuse is a form of domestic violence.
Precisely. That's when it comes hand in hand, that verbal, then pop. You know what I'm saying?
That is why it's important to know who you're dealing with.
Yes.
In every situation possible, so that way you know there's no chance of that happening.
That's why it's so hard to be vulnerable with somebody, especially in the beginning when you trying to get to know somebody.
I think sometimes,
you know what I'm saying?
I think sometimes some of the ladies don't realize how hard it is for us to be vulnerable to them, because we may want to express certain things to them, but some guys, they've either experienced that or they may not have the emotional intelligence to do so. And so, because sometimes the question is always thrown around, is, okay, but why don't you talk to me? Or, you can talk to me about anything, right?
But if you haven't established that safe place.
Facts.
Right, that's what I'm saying, right.
Then it's not going to happen.
Right.
This time around, I made sure that in this current marriage that I'm in, I established a safe place for both of us to openly express our emotions, to where later if we have a conversation that it's heated, we're not throwing daggers because I care about you. If you're willing to throw a dagger at me because of something I said, you don't truly care about me. And then we don't truly have a safe space.
Yep, gotta go. You want a $10,000 ring? Nope, you ain't getting it from me.
But it's establishing these foundations early.
Yep.
Because once you establish that safe place, that foundation of communication, of respect, of love, I'm going to tell you up front, these are some of the things that I'm working past and that I need to get through, and these are the things I'm struggling with right now, and you can either take it or leave it, and I'm giving these to you because I trust you with this information so that you can help me. And if you help me, I help you.
Facts.
It's a two-way street. It's never just a one-way situation, because then you going back around in those same circles. But if I want to be with somebody, if I want to continue to build a friendship, a relationship, get married, I'm not going to want to stay in that place where you're going to continue to disrespect me, call me out my name, put your hands on me, especially, and try to control me because I'm not doing what you want me to do. That's not a safe space.
Everything has a cause and effect.
Facts.
and I get asked all the time on both sides, men and women. You know, like, how can I find my person, or what do I need to? I'm like, first of all, I'm not a
Work
counselor.
first.
I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist.
Especially when I'm single, I don't know.
Right, but
I'm
what
trying to be.
but what I do always say, the first thing you need to do is identify who you are first, love yourself first, and then identify what kind of person you want to be with. Right? So if you gotta write that down so you can consciously always be aware of that, fine. Do whatever you need to do to that works for you. But
The Bible says to write your vision and make it plain. So when it got time, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you good, Key.
When it got time for me to get back to my healed place, because I need to figure out who I was myself before I embedded my life into somebody else's life, especially coming with what society calls today baggage of kids and trauma, because men don't usually go after women that got kids, unfortunately, in today's society. So I got a unicorn, and I'm proudly thankful for him. Or whatever. But either way, I had to go inside. I had to go inside myself first, and people ask me, "Well, how'd you heal past that and identify what you want?" I had to identify what traumas I had,
Number one. Yep.
what triggered me,
Yep.
and then build or conjure or think and manifest the person that is going to help me through those situations. Because when I was specific in building my person, I said I want somebody that's going to put me as a friend first. Well, somebody that's going to respect me and love me as much as he loves my children. Somebody that I'm able to grow with is going to stretch me in my career, and so forth and so on. But you have to identify in yourself,
And
who
that's
are
rare.
you?
That's rare. That's rare. Not to cut you off, but as much as you manifested it and prayed on it and everything, it's rare. It's rare finding a man who. Cause I've done it twice. I've dated. I've been in relations with two women on a serious basis that had kids. And it wasn't they weren't bad relationships. They were great. Of course, they didn't work out, but finding men out here who don't have kids, who's willing to take you and your kids and all in, while still at the same time adding on to you, while he's while he's simultaneously going to be doing what he needs to do for himself, it's rare.
It is.
That's where and it's.
That's a hell of a man, if you ask me.
I tell my sisters all the time, like, if you come across a man who don't have any kids,
Treat him
Never
well.
been married.
Never
been
been married.
locked up.
none of that, but you have kids, you better be licking his toes or something. I'm serious because I'm serious because
Nah, real talk.
I'm joking when I say that, but I'm serious at the same time because it's not too many times you're gonna come across men
Facts.
who's put together,
A good one.
who's on their shit, who's about you and your kids.
But that's because he put in the work first.
Facts.
And
Absolutely,
he set in his mind
absolutely,
what he wanted.
absolutely.
Facts.
And that's why I'm a wholehearted believer that when a man knows he's for you or you're for him, you're for him.
Mm-hmm.
And until then, everything else is like a game.
I told myself, I was like,
Yep.
I would like to not deal with nobody that have kids. And the person I'm talking to has a daughter. So it all depends.
Right. It's case by case.
It's case by case. So
And that means that you put in the work to where you're more mature to say,
we're trying. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah.
and you're willing.
Mhm.
Men sometimes just aren't willing because of the image that is baggage, or the image that it's hard. Now, I mean, if you ask my husband, he'll say that, yeah, it was hard adjustment going from a bachelor to a ready-made family.
It's a lot that goes
Yeah.
into it, and I think sometimes what the sisters don't understand when it comes to why men don't choose them because they have kids is because you have to think about the money aspect of it. Not only do I have to pay for myself and self-sustain myself, but now I'm adding you and then your 1+ kids into all of that. That's
But
It's-
that's
it's
a
a lot.
financial,
Dive
but
into
that's a
that.
it's a
financial
lot.
decision.
No, but that's the big reason.
Yeah, that's a
It's
that's
the
a nice
financial
that's a
aspect
nice
of
reason. Yeah, and the fact that you know what I'm saying it's hard to try to help raise somebody that's not really yours.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
You know what I'm saying?
Them kids gonna say at
It's-
some point in time,
And it happens.
you ain't
But
my
again,
daddy.
it's
Mhm.
having those
Or
conversations.
who you
up
think you
front.
are? That's my kid. All that
Don't
it
put
comes.
your hand. Don't put your hands on
It's
my
having
kid.
those conversations
Yeah,
though.
yes.
Facts.
Because
yes.
in the beginning, so but again, I've always been told that I'm a different breed because I got it on my own. I went from being homeless to moving back up here, moving in with my mom.
Oh yeah,
I-
I do remember.
Moving back in with my mom. I would like me and my girls were homeless.
Yes.
My mom took us in. Glory to my mom. I love you, girl.
Hey, tararabo. Hey, shabba.
But I got back on my feet because I got my own car. I got my own place then. I got a better paying job. I got another paying job, better paying job. I got another living space that was better than the original living space. I got another good paying job. So I'm putting in the work for myself so that the person that comes into my life doesn't have to put in that work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to rely on somebody else because I put in the work myself. But that's what some people don't understand. They don't want to put in that work for themselves first to be ready to handle the blessing that a man or a woman is going to bring to them. I said after I lost everything, I would never a day in my life be this low again. And I have stood by that because I know that my God is so good that he kept me through these situations.
Glory!
Like seriously.
Glory!
But again, it's finding your match, it's finding your niche, but you have to be in your zenith place first.
Woo!
In order to handle what somebody else is bringing to the table.
Yes,
if I was
Lord.
still a hot mess, I'm gonna fumble whatever other bag this man is about to bring.
That's a fact.
I guarantee you, if you weren't
Echo. Yeah.
what and who you are, this man sitting over here, you would have found him.
Absolutely.
I guarantee because some
Absolutely.
because some sisters confused, you know, because as men, yeah, we'll sleep with you. We will sleep with you.
Tear
Just
that
a
ass
piece
up.
of meat.
We will
Tear
sleep
that
with
ass
you.
up.
But are we gonna stick around long term?
Facts.
And if you aren't who you are or supposed to be as a woman, because we see that. Yeah, we'll call you and like sleep with you, but as far as invest long term
It ain't
into
gonna
you,
happen.
it's not gonna happen. And I be trying to tell my sisters like, look, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror first and understand who you are, what you want to be, where you want to go in your life, and that man will, however that looks, is gonna come accordingly.
The Bible says, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this a preaching
No,
moment.
not hitting.
No, that's good.
The Bible
You've been
says-
preaching this whole time. Hey, God, glory.
A man findeth
Find
a
a
good
good
wife.
What?
Which means, ladies, you have to be what that man needs first. He
That's
can't
what-
find you if you're not whole
Thank
first.
Hey.
And that does not mean that you don't have mental health issues. That does
Right.
not mean that you don't still have financial issues. That does not mean that you don't have debt. You
Right.
can have all of that.
If
But
you
as
don't give me
long
no
as you have
nourishment,
the
if you don't give me-
tools
Thank you.
and that willingness to work things out and communicate and build, then that's when your person will come.
Because what's not understood also as men, we're gonna add more tools to your toolbox.
Exactly.
And vice versa, if you find
And
a good
vice
woman.
No questions asked. If you on your path and you hold and you what you're supposed to be for us, we're gonna add more tools to your toolbox without even having to put effort into doing it. It's just it's
Exactly.
an automatic thing we're gonna do.
And then it's just putting in that work of respect moving forward from there when you have those button heads moments.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I help you, if I give you some knowledge, I just made you smarter, which means you then become smarter than me in some area of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same vice versa. And if we can continue to build, we're going to be a pillar in the midst of situations to help others people see that same perspective and things because we put in the work first.
Facts. See, it's a reason why a lion don't hunt squirrels. You know what I'm saying? They don't give them no nourishment. You just spend all this effort and nothing. You won't get no nourishment after. But I'm about to go after this zebra. They got that meat on there. They got that thick nourishment. And I'm going to get it. And I'm attacked it. Now I'm good to go.
Right.
I'm great. Now I'm revitalized. Now I can
Right.
get to do what I got to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't running out of these squirrels. Give me a zebra. Stop playing.
Exactly. But you also have to but you also have to be willing to be with somebody that challenges you.
Facts.
Because
Oh, that zebra ain't going to make it hard. That zebra. That zebra.
That's a whole.
The zebra
that's
getting
a
it out of
whole
there.
nother
You
conversation
hear me?
for. Yeah, cause that being with someone that challenges you. If I challenge you, that don't mean I'm being toxic or anything like that. I'm challenging you because number one, I love you and I care about you. But number two,
I know you can do better.
I know you can do better. And number three, I expect more of you.
Facts.
I see more for you.
Right.
Then you see it in yourself.
Exactly. So and that goes back to, exercising. It hurts while you're in it. It sucks while you're going through it.
Facts.
But you're stretching your muscles to be able to hold more, to be able to handle more. And once you get put through that, you're good. Just find the right one to build with.
This was a great show.
Yes.
Any closing remarks before we get up out of Hickey?
I have a closing remark. First of all, thank y'all for having me on. This was so much fun.
No problem.
In honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I did want to give the domestic violence hotline.
And we will put it in the description for the video.
Yep.
Yes, so that's 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233. Or you can text START to 88788. So, thank y'all so much.
Give out your ads and all that. Any upcoming projects or things that people should be focused on?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Kevia, KEVIAWH_. I am on the path to becoming a licensed clinical social worker, so I'm trying to get into this place to be able to speak more on domestic violence, giving testimonies and empowering women. I've spoken at a few conferences, so if you do want to book me to help in any type of motivational aspect for women, men, empowerment, even in the executive suite, I do executive leadership trainings on compassion and burnout. Hit me up.
That's cool.
Hey, plenty of podcasts is made. Nobody lay it down like Spade to Spades. Like, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. Get money and drink water, and we out.
All right, Key, thank you. Again, this was a great conversation. We will do this again.
Yes,
Soon.
sir.
And on that note, we are out. Appreciate y'all for tuning into the program. Thank y'all for the participation. We are Spade to Spade Podcast. We will be back in 2 weeks. Y'all be safe.
Until
Peace.
next time, y'all.
Be safe. Speak your voice.
Facts.